Welcome to this video on effective communication. I believe that communication is one of the most critical or important skill for you, not just in your personal life but also in your professional life. On your personal front, it could help you to build relationship with people, your family members, your friends, etc. It could also help you manage conflicts that might arise. It could also be in terms of being able to communicate or share your emotions. So this is on a personal front. On a professional front or in your career, it would help you to work together in a team. It would help you to grow in your career. It is definitely needed for your personal development. If you're a manager, then communicating effectively is again utmost important or critical. So these are some of the importance, or this is some of the advantages of being able to communicate effectively. You will be better at managing relationships. You will be better at managing your friends. You will be better at at your work. So these are the advantages. Now, the first thing that I want to clear, or the first myth that I would want to remove before we get into the video, is that communication is it's not something that you're born with. There might be great speakers, etc., who might be born with excellent communication skill, but what I believe is that communication, like any other skill, can be learned. The only thing that you need to do is you need to practice it, and when you practice, like the saying goes, practice makes perfect. So ensure that you practice it to get better at it. I'm going to be sharing practical tips on ways that you can improve your communication. This is not about this. The video is not about grammar. The video is not about speaking English, because that's totally different. That's different from communicating. English is a language. Communication is a skill. So these are two different things. So somebody who's great or good at English need not be great communicator. So there's a difference between the two, and I'm going to be talking about effective communication and not English. So with that note, let's jump right in. So communication is kind of, you could say, communication has three components. One is the body language, then you have tone, and then you have what you're saying. So basically there are three things: body language, the way that you're speaking, and what is it that you're saying, basically your content. So these are the three factors. And there's again a lot of research which was done, and they kind of gave a weightage for these. They gave a weightage for body language, tone, and the content. And I don't know, few of you might already be aware of it. For few of you it might come as a surprise. But body language contributes to about 53 to 55% of your communication. Next to that is the tone, or the way that you're speaking, and that is roughly about 38%. So if you put your body language and your tone together, or the way that you're communicating, that is about 93% of your communication, and that's a huge number. The remaining, which is what we are saying, the content, I'm not saying it is not important, it is important, but that's only about 7%. And my focus in the video is to help you improve the 93%. And I will also give you a tip on how you can improve the remaining 7%, but focus is on the 93%, which is your body language and your tone. So when we talk about body language, it is the way that you stand, it is the way that you use your hand gestures, it is the way that you maintain your eye contact. All of these factors are included in body language. Now let me give you two demos or example. Okay, one is posture A and posture B. Posture A is where you're standing with your shoulders stooped like this and your head down. Just by looking at this, what is going through your mind? What are the emotions? What do you think about me? And now here's posture number B, where my shoulders are pushed back, I'm standing straight and looking up. Now, by looking at me again, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What is it that you're thinking, or what is it that I'm communicating? What do you feel about me? What is the perception that you get about me? it'll be great if you can put that in the description, so that maybe we could do a little bit of research ourselves as well. So I'm sure most of you, when you saw me looking down, you felt that I lacked confidence, or maybe I'm not interested. Maybe somebody who's not able to handle a team does not have a goal. So all those negative, right? Looking at me, maybe you felt, oh no, this person might not be able to handle the team, might not be able to work in a team, might not be able to get things done, does not look like a person who is goal oriented. So all of those are the perceptions that you built about me just by looking at me. And again, I didn't even open my mouth. Now, the second posture that I gave you or showed you, where I was standing with my shoulders, open shoulders, and looking up, okay, and straight, you got a feeling, or you had a perception that I'm somebody who has confidence, who demonstrated confidence, who is energetic, who might be able to get things done, who might be able to lead a team, who is goal-oriented, focused, determined, etc. And again, in both these instances, if you see, I didn't open my mouth. Now, a few of you might be thinking, Ismail, that's first impression. We should not judge book by its cover. While I agree, I don't want to judge a book by its cover. However, having said that, if you see, all of us are guilty of doing this. We build perceptions about others, and this is again research. We build perceptions about others within the first 7 seconds that we meet them or see them. And that's called as the first impression. So what I want you to also ask right now is, what is the first impression that you're sending out? Ask yourself. So you need to build or work on your impressions. You need to build, or you need to work on the way that you're standing, the way that you use your hands, the way that you smile, the way that you maintain your eye contact. All of these are important. So the first tip, the practical tip that I have for you is stand straight. Okay. So when I say stand straight, with your shoulder in line with your feet, it's in line with your feet, because there are a few people who kind of stand with their feet like this, right? So there's a lot of gap between the shoulders and the feet is not in line. Then there are a few people who stand with their feet close like this. Okay, so that also, so if you see, it kind of gives me an imbalance, or I'm not able to balance myself properly. So ensure that you're standing straight, your shoulders and feet are in line. So that's the way that you need to stand. The next thing that you suddenly wonder is, okay, so if you're standing like this, what do you do with these two things, right? The sudden thing, why has God given us these two hands? You don't know what to do with them, and this happens even more, or you become even more aware or conscious of this while you're making a presentation or having a conversation with somebody face to face. So what happens sometimes usually is you start putting your hands in your pocket, right? So that's something that happens. Or you sometimes move your hands to the back, like the soldiers or the army generals, right? So you move your hands to the back. Or some of them have it as a fig leg, which is they cover, the front, the front of the pants. So that's something they do with their hands. So these are things that I want you to avoid. Now, the first thing is, of course, you need to become conscious. You need to become aware that you're making a mistake. Or first, know that you're making a mistake. Second, become aware of that. So if you're not doing all of these, what is it that you need to do with your hands? You need to keep them in the front where people can see. Again, there's a lot of research which was done in terms of moment people see your hand, they kind of build that trust. They know, okay, this is somebody that we can trust, because you're going there with your open arms. And it's open arms, not like that, but with your hands in the front where they're able to see those hands. So they know that you're not hiding something either behind your back or in your pocket. And that is why these hands need to be in the front where people can see. The next thing is, of course, so one is the way that you stand, with your shoulders pushed back a little bit like that, okay? And of course your hands to be visible. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, have a smile on your face. Nobody would want to talk to somebody goes like this, right? Movement. So I'm sure you're able to notice that the difference when I talk like this vis-a-vis when I talk like this. So that's the second thing. Ensure that you have a smile on your face. That makes you more approachable. That makes you more, what do you say, in terms of joyful to talk to. Okay, so that's the second aspect. And third, of course, is maintaining that eye contact. Now, a few of us struggle with eye contact, and that's perfectly okay. The reason is because, you know, it takes time. It takes time to build that eye contact. So you don't have to keep looking at the person. This is staring. So you can look at the person and sometimes, you know, move away your eyes a little bit, and advisable not to look to the left or right, but at least, you know, just look up, maybe at the eyebrow. Instead of the eye, you can start focusing on the eyebrow. That way you're not as conscious as looking at the person straight in the eye. Now, when you also maintain that eye contact, it is about trust. You know, that the other person believes that whatever you are saying is true. You are trustworthy. You are somebody that they can trust. So that is why maintaining that eye contact is important. So standing, your hands, smile on your face, and eye contact. So this is when it comes to standing. So ensure, again, things that you should not be doing is putting your hands behind or in your pocket. Now, is it possible that it would happen? Yes, there's a possibility. A lot of times I make that mistake that suddenly my hands go into my pocket like this. So becoming aware is the first thing. So once you become aware, slowly move your hands out of your pocket or, you know, from the back, and then get it here. Now, what is it that you could do with these hands? So you could communicate with the hands instead of just, you know, this is hand movement. These are not gestures. So you could make a point. So maybe we started from here and then went to here. So here are the different points that I want to talk about. So communication has got body language, the way that you're saying, and what you're saying. So this is how you can use your hand to communicate further, so which makes you look more confident. And just the way that you stand makes you look more confident and able to communicate better. Let me show you that example once again. So instead of this, you move to this. And moment you're looking down, we have a wonderful machine here called as a voice box. So when you look down, your voice also, it lacks energy, it lacks that enthusiasm. So ensure that you're looking up straight. So that way your, you know, the throat or the device that we have is fully functional. Okay, so that's something else that I wanted to do. So here's another tip that I'm going to give, like an extra tip in terms of how do we look confident or how do we feel confident. So again, let me give you a demo of a person walking. Okay, and you tell me again in the comments or the description, in the comments below as to what do you think of this person. Okay, so there's scene one, take one. So what do you think of this person? Do you feel that this person is again energetic? What do you think he or she is communicating? Right? Does he or she lack that confidence? Definitely look like, right? So now here's scene number 2 or take 2. So if you see, there's a difference between the first and the second walk. In the first walk, I was walking slowly. Right? In the second, I was walking with a spring in my feet. So there was some energy, there was josh in the way that I was walking. So to improve your confidence, and I'm sure you have your role models that you would have seen, or you would have seen some great CEOs. And if you see the way that they don't walk like they have the entire time in the world. They are always fast paced. So I want you to start walking 20% faster. So that's the first tip that I want to give you, or rather one of the pro tips that I want to give you when it comes to improving your confidence. Start walking 20% faster. Okay. So we spoke about the way that you stand. We spoke about the facial expression. We spoke about we spoke about your eye contact, we spoke about nodding. So these are some of the things that I want you to start working on. Now, how do you improve this? Again, you would have heard this multiple times, but stand in front of a mirror and look at yourself. So you have a mirror in front of you, look at it. So the way that you are standing, are you standing with your shoulders slouched, or are your feet in line? So those are things that you start observing. And maybe you can have a friend who will tell you moment, you're having a conversation with them, tell them, if I'm making some mistake in the way that I'm standing, correct me. You could have some clues, you kind of close the eyes so they know that you're making a mistake with your body language, and you start, you switch back to the positive body language. Now that we understood how is it that we can improve our body language, now let's look at the second aspect, which is the way that you communicate or the way that you speak. Not what, but the way, how you're communicating something, how you're speaking. So I'm going to give you some practical tips on ways that you need to improve or the ways that you can speak better. So the first tip is talk slowly. When I say slowly, not softly that people are not able to hear, but when I say slowly, you need to reduce the number of words that you are speaking in 1 minute. That's referred to as the rate of speech. We Indians, we usually speak very fast because most of our mother tongue is quite fast, because of which we kind of speak at the same pace. So what we need to do is we need to reduce the number of words that you're speaking per minute. Now, here are two examples that I'm going to give you once again so that you can understand the difference between the two. So here's one where my rate of speech is high. So it's possible that I am also able to speak at this rate of speech, and I'm sure if I speak at this rate of speech, there's a possibility that most of the words that I'm pronouncing or most of the words that you're hearing might not be as clear as. Okay, so that is the rate of speech. And what also happens because of this, at the end of the sentence, you're going to take to that. Okay, so that's example or demo number 1. Now let's look at demo 2, which is the pace at which I'm speaking in this video. If you see, I'm not speaking at I'm not pronouncing too many words in a minute, but much lesser, and I'm pronouncing each of those words clearly. I'm not eating away the words. I'm kind of speaking or pronouncing each of those words clearly so you're able to understand what I'm trying to say. This way it will also help me to gather breath in between. I'm not going to run out of breath. So one is rate of speech, reduce the number of words that you're speaking in a minute. This also helps you in one other way, which is most of us think in our mother tongue, because English is a foreign language for us, so we'll be thinking in mother tongue, and then we need to translate that and speak. So when you speak or when you speak less words, your brain has the time to kind of translate it, and you have the chance to speak. So that way again you do not run out of ideas or words to speak. So rate of speech, it will help you to pronounce clearly. It will also help you to translate and speak. You could also, if you want to stress on a word, if there is a particular point that you want to emphasize on, you could pause just before speaking that word. I'm sure you noticed what I did. So just before having to mention that important point that you want to say, take a pause and then communicate that or say that sentence. So a rate of speech, take a pause. It will also help you to translate or help you think or gather your thoughts. The other thing is, have a variation in your voice. There are certain words that you need to speak loud and certain words that you need to speak low. So that brings a variation in your voice which makes you sound more confident, which will make you sound more clear in what you're trying to say. Now, a tip that I can give you here is, I would ask you or request you to add emotions to your words. Because most of the words, sometimes when we speak, we don't add any emotion to what we're trying to say. So when you add emotions, when you add feelings to the words, it sounds much better. And how do you add those words? That again, if you see, there's an expression that comes in when we are adding emotions to the words. So when you add emotion, you sound more confident. You come across as being able to communicate better. So ensure that you add emotions. Have a variation in your voice. So that's another thing that you can do. These two is going to help you. Okay, so we talk about the pause. Okay, I'm also going to kind of summarize this towards the end, where I talk about the 4 P's that you can use, which is of course the pause, power that you're going to use. So we spoke about the pause. Now we are also going to look at what do we mean by the power. Power is how in terms of loud, that is the power that we are talking about. So ensure that you are loud enough that people are able to hear you. Because somebody speaking like this, I'm sure, does not come across as being confident in what they are trying to say. So if you have to be better at communicating, you need to raise your voice. I'm not asking you to shout. That's different from ensuring that you increase your volume. That is the power. Okay, the pitches, so we have pause, power. The pitches are, like I've told you, the variations in your voice. That's something that you need to work on. So once you start working on these aspects, you sound much better. Again, like I mentioned, so you need to bring your body language and tone together. Because if you're standing like this, your tone is not going to be, or your sound or your voice is not going to be as effective as when you're standing up straight. So stand up straight, look person in the eye, have a smile on your face, and speak slowly. Ensure that you're pronouncing each word. Have variation in your voice or tone. And ensure you're loud enough so that people are able to hear you. To make it more animated, add emotions to your words. That's an easy way for you to start knowing, okay, how do I improve my tone? By adding emotions, by adding feelings to the words that you are saying. So when you work on these aspects, then of course, both of these together will help you. It's like I mentioned, 93%. So you're already improving your body language and tone. Now, how do we improve what we are saying? The ways to improve that is, of course, you start looking at, pick one word for the day. This is something that you want to improve on. Start seeing what are the ways that I can use this word in a sentence. So that's one way. And of course, start using that on a daily basis. In a day, maybe, I don't know, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, whatever is the number of times that you can use that word. However, now having said this, if you see in this entire video, I have not used any complicated words, any words that you don't understand. So sometimes it is better to keep it simple. You don't have to be confident. It doesn't mean that you have to use words that people will have to look at the dictionary. So you're not going to make any sense to them. Which means if you don't make sense, you're not communicating. Communication is you are saying something and the other person being able to understand that in the same way that you kind of expressed it. So don't worry too much about the 7%. However, yes. So one is pick a word. Second is, of course, read a lot of English paper, books, whatever. Watch English movies without the subtitle. Watch English movies without the subtitle. or also you can watch some English news channels which will help you to improve, help you pronounce those words clearly, understand, okay, so understand in terms of no, this is how I need to use this in a sentence. Oh, okay, so this is how to pronounce the word. This is how I need to use it in a sentence. So these are the ways that by watching movies or by watching news channels, you will be able to improve on the 7% as well, which is what you're saying. So when you also read, you improve your knowledge, you gain knowledge, you are updated with the current affairs, you are updated with what is happening in your industry, you are updated with the technology, the latest news, the latest gadgets, any of those. Because when you have content, then you can also speak. When you don't have content, you might not be able to speak, and which might kind of lower your confidence. If you have the content, which is a 7%, work on the way that you're going to put it across to them by ensuring that you have excellent body language and your voice or tone. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions or if you want me to express any point more clearly or in another video, please do add that in the description and I will be more than happy to create a video on that. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications on new videos. Thank you so much.